Assalamualaikum to everyone. Today my group will present our project assignment. My name is Siti Farahim binti Abdul Rashid and my metric number 259024. Our group already choose three instruments, which is Warrant from Malaysian, Treasury bill from UK, Cagamas Berhad, which is debt security. And today I will present about the first one, define what it is, purpose of its creation, and how it is created. For the three instruments that I talked before. For the first instrument is Warrant Malaysia. Warrant may be a security that provides holder confers the right, but not the requirement to buy or sell a selected underlying asset and an agreed price, which is strike price, on the expired date. Warrant also typically much greater than the underlying share. There are two styles of warrant, which is American style and European style. And American style warrant are often exercised at any time within the amount before the expiration date, while Europe style warrant can only be exercised on the day of the expiration date. In Malaysia, we only practice the American sort of warrant. There are two sorts of warrant be created in Malaysian, which is company warrant and structure warrant. Company warrant is called as a stock warrant. It is issued by the listed company itself to boost money. It gives you the right to get a company stock at a selected price within the contract period. The structure warrant, also called as an exchange traded option or stock option, and issued by financial institution. The structure warrant is the settlement is in cash and doesn't involve any mother share. In Malaysia, there are six license issuers, which are M-Bank Berhad, CIM Bank Berhad, Kenanga Investment Bank Berhad, Maybank Investment Bank Berhad, Macquarie Capital Security Malaysia Sedia Berhad, and RHB Investment Berhad. Next, the second instrument is Treasury bill in UK. Treasury bill, T-bill, may be a short-term US government debt obligation backed by the Department of the Treasury with a maturity of 1 year or less. Treasury bills are usually sold in the denomination of $1,000. These securities are widely regarded as a low-risk and secure investment. In the United Kingdom, T-bills are issued by the Bank of England on behalf of the government, normally on a weekly basis and normally by tender. Treasury bills are often issued for any term up to at least 1 year, but the tendency have been to issue for 3 to 2 months period. At the tender, the prospective purchasers had to indicate the price he is prepared to pay. This price is a function of the interest rate expected. The purpose of Treasury bill is to assist finance the debt. They are a way for the government to make money from the public. People and corporations can buy Treasury bill. The Treasury bill was popular with many reasons nowadays. Not only are they affordable enough that nearly anyone can purchase one, but they provide fast return, and that they are simple, easy to know, and reliable. Treasury bill created to issuing future bonds, government issue term Treasury bill T-bills of up to at least 1 until year maturity. These don't carry a coupon but are sold on a reduction basis. All Treasury bills matured within a year from their date of issue, and it is short-term investment, and you have to choice of buying for bills with maturity period of 1 month, 6 months, or 1 year. Next instrument is Cagamas debt security. Cagamas Berhad issue debt security to finance the purchase of housing, mortgage, and other consumer receivable for both conventional loans and Islamic financing. Debt security refers to a debt instrument such as a government bond, corporate bond, certificate of deposit, municipal bond, or preferred stock. Debts can be bought or sold between two parties and has basic term defined, such as nationally amount that's borrowed, interest rate and maturity and renewal date. The purpose of debt security is to do investment in bonds. Debt security is be created for the interest rate on debt security is larger determined by the perceived repayment ability of the borrower. Higher risk of payment default amount almost to borrow capital always lead to higher interest rate. For Cagamas Berhad had issued for two sorts, which is conventional debt security and conventional foreign currency debt security.
Okay, Assalamualaikum. My name is Sabrina Balkis binti Syahriman. Metric number is 259069. Okay, I will present about the parties involved, right of each parties, responsibility of each parties. Okay, for a warrant Malaysia, the parties involved is issuer who issue the securities to a holder, and the holder, which is an investor that buy the securities and hold the security until the maturity date, and the broker. Broker is an individual or collective investment bank, universal brokers, special scheme brokers, and eligible non-universal brokers. Okay, the right of each party is issuer has right to sell the warrant or call the warrant at a specific price at a future date prior to the expiration. For the investor, they have right to put the warrant where the investor have right to sell shares of a company back to that company at a specific price at a future date prior to the expiration. And broker has right to execute buy and sell orders for stocks and other securities on behalf of its client. Okay, for responsibility, issuer need to issue new shares of stock when the warrant is officially issued. Thus, issuer must establish and register it with the listed exchange in a market for the warrant, but unregistered warrant transactions investor have the responsibility to write the stock options at the ASX or CBOE. They are not permitted to do so with ASX listed warrants, since only companies can issue warrants, and while each option contract 1,000 underlying ordinary shares, the number of warrants that must be exercised by the holder to buy the underlying asset depends on the conversion ratio set out in the offer documentation for the warrant issue. For the broker shall continuously satisfy itself about the genuineness and financial soundness of the client and investment objective relevant to the services to be provided. Okay, next, I will move to the Treasury Bill UK, which is the parties involved is the issuer, who is the Bank of England on behalf of the government, and the investor who purchase a T-bill. The government is effectively writing an IOU to the investor. So, the right of each party is that issuer has right to issue T-bills at a discount from the par value or the face value of the bill. And then the investor has right to cash out the T-bills before maturity and realize the short-term interest gains by reselling it in the secondary market. So, issuer have the responsibility to specify the maturity of bills being bid for and must be made on a percentage money market yield basis. And investors have to decide whether to make a competitive or non-competitive bid. Investors also responsible to know the maturity period of the T-bills. Okay, next, I will move to the Cagamas or debt securities. Parties involved in Cagamas is the borrower, originator or bank, arranger, the tax and accounting advisors, rating agency, and investor. Okay, the right of each party is that borrower has right to know the details about the loan. And for the originator or bank, or we call it as bank has right to sell the assets to Cagamas as the return to for cash proceeds or alternatively holds tradable securities. It is to make sure that the bank can keep its liquidity risk to the lower risk. And for the arrangers has right to arrange the banks to advise the seller on the structuring of a securitization transaction, liaise with another parties involved in the transaction, and all documents necessary for approval by relevant regulatory authorities for the issuance of securities. And then the investor has right to know their maturity date, the interest and dividend that they will receive. Investor also has right to sell their securities to another investor or buyer. And then for the responsibility of each party for Cagamas, the borrower must make sure to make loan payments on time. Then for bank needs to select loans according to the eligibility criteria set by Cagamas. In order to sell the asset, originator or bank also must be prepared to provide historical information of its loan for cash flow modeling and performance analysis to Cagamas. Investor need to rely on their own evaluation to assess the merits and risks of an investment in the securities, bond or sukuk. And last, for the Cagamas itself, Cagamas needs to provide liquidity to financial institutions at a competitive cost where it encouraging them to provide additional housing loans and house financing to new applicants.
Good morning, my name is Hermaya binti Daha, metric number 253978. I will present about Warrant Malaysia, about risk to each parties. First is market risk. The market value of a warrant are exposed to event that affect its demand and supply. This occurs when the price of its underlying share fall below the exercise price at the maturity date of the warrants. As a result, the warrant holder will maintain losses in their investment. Next is credit risk. Inability of warrant issuer to fulfill this obligation in assessing the credit rating of the warrant. Next is limited life of warrant are acknowledged as the other risks involved in structured warrant. Warrant has expiry date and it causes the time value of warrant to decrease. Warrant has no time value when it is about to expire, whereby warrant may expire before investor fulfill his expectation. It is becoming worthless to the investor. Next, benefit to each parties. Low investment cost charge. Warrant allow investor to acquire a desired stock at a fraction of the cost of the warrant price. Next, gearing. The warrant price is usually a fraction of the total value of the underlying asset. This allows the investor to buy more warrant than the underlying asset for the same investment expenditure. Next is potential loss and gains. It's stated that the maximum potential loss is the only entire price of the warrant, which is a fraction of the share price. In opposite, the maximum potential gain of the warrant can be unlimited because it depends on the movement of the underlying share. What is the pricing mechanism? Structured warrant give holder the right in making a reservation to buy or sell a predetermined number of the instrument at a certain price in the future. If the settlement price of the underlying asset is above the strike price and expiry, the call warrant is considered to be in profit and the holder will receive the cash payment. The value of put warrant will increase when the price of underlying asset goes down. Put warrant price inversely differ from the movement of the underlying asset. Put warrant is in profit when the settlement price of the underlying asset is below the strike price at the expiry. The holder will receive a cash payment. So in conclusion, the value of the structured warrant are much valuable when in longer maturity date. Next is UK Treasury bill. Risk to each party. First is interest rate risk. The interest rate rising and cause the existing T-bill to be less likely by the investor since the interest rate are becoming less attractive compared to overall market, which will cause the existing bondholder to lose out on higher rate in the future. Next is UK T-bill have a lower return compared to corporate bond and some certificate of deposit. Next is market risk. The investor tolerance toward risk will affect the price either in a good or bad risk. T-bill price will drop whenever other investment like equity and feel less risky. T-bill can inhibit cash flow for investor who require steady income, especially during the fluctuation of interest rate in the US market. Benefit to each party. UK T-bill is acknowledged as the most liquid and safest debt security in the market. It benefits the investor as the security of T-bill are well protected. T-bill have a zero default risk since it has a US government guarantee. T-bill have a benefit the investor of its convenience. Investor can buy and sell T-bill easily in the secondary market in a short period of time. T-bill offer a low minimum investment requirement of $100 to attract many investors into their market. Investors often will choose to trade with US government T-bill rather than other corporate bonds which are more difficult to trade. What is the pricing mechanism? The Treasury Department will sell the T-bill at auction at a fixed interest rate. To receive the fixed rate, bidder are required to pay more than the face value when demand is high. However, when demand is low, bidder will pay less than the face value. Lastly is Cagamas, Malaysia, risk to each party. Liquidity risk caused by the financial institution in October 1987 at the time when they were experiencing tight liquidity. First, the financial institutions were unwilling to give out housing loans, which are considered to be long-term illiquid assets. The financial institution also face financial risk when their source of funds become more expensive than the rate of return on their housing loans. Next is house buyer carry the risk of escalating mortgage rate. The rising interest rate has made buying a home become more difficult. From home buyer perspective, the increasing mortgage rate will decrease their affordability to buy a house. Benefit to each parties. Benefit house buyer in terms of accessibility. House buyer can easily obtain access to housing loan at a reasonable cost. Next, benefit the financial institution in obtaining the necessary liquidity at a competitive cost to enable further originated housing loan and enhance their lending operation. It also enables the financial institution to price their loan product competitively. Cagamas, Malaysia has helped the government in achieving the policy to encourage home ownership among the low middle income group. And then it provides investors a safe and reasonable return on their investment. What is the pricing mechanism? The successful pricing of Cagamas instruments such as conventional commercial paper continue the strong demand for Cagamas berhad short-term debt security. The conventional commercial paper competitively priced at the corresponding 3-monthly bond benchmark rate plus 3 basis points equivalent to 2.31% based on paper fixing and the present date. This paper will be redeemed at the nominal value of maturity.
Hi, my name is Nolina Karida binti Mahathir, meeting number 259122. Today I want to present about how is the instrument traded, is there any secondary market, where and how can we access to this instrument. Firstly, Warrant Malaysia. Warrant Malaysia and Call Warrant have been traded in Bursa for quite some time but are gaining more popularity in recent years. Warrant Malaysia. Firstly, issuer. Third-party issuer usually a bank. Underlying asset that meet legal regulatory requirement. Next expired period usually 6 months to 2 years. Liquidity designated market maker, and lastly settlement method usually cash settled. Is there any secondary market in the warrant? No secondary market, but the warrant has a market. That is the active market in the warrant. That means that they maintain a strike offer and distribution with the intention of selling the warrant to the investor. Where and how can you access to the instrument in Warrant Malaysia? Firstly, the warrant can be viewed through the Bursa Malaysia account holding the entire warranty before giving it to the parties involved. Basically, you make a reservation to buy or sell a number of instruments at a certain price in the future when you invest in such a security. Treasury bill in UK. Firstly, how is the instrument traded? Central bank sell asset to the bank. Bank pay cash to central bank, and bank sell asset on credit sale to the central bank. Central bank issue treasury bill to the bank. Bank issue treasury bill is traded in secondary market and present treasury bill and receive cash at maturity to the central bank. Have 3 ways treasury bill UK traded, such as weekly T-bill is T-bill are routinely issue weekly tenders held by the DM on the last business day. Second, ad hoc treasury bill issuing T-bill at weekly tenders. The DMO maturity from 1 to 364 days. Lastly, bilaterally T-bill facility. It is the DMO issue T-bill bilaterally issuing on request from any of eligible cash management counterparties. Is there any secondary market in treasury bill? Treasury bill has secondary market. Firstly, secondary market treasury bill are based on direct discount where the price mentioned on the broker screen are discounted. Second, it cannot be compared to commercial paper price, which is a plus price unless it is converted. Lastly, treasury bill affect the money supply by temporarily increasing liquidity. Where and how can you access to the instrument in treasury bill in UK? Treasury bill can be accessed at Clear, Chris and Euro Depositor. Chris is a UK-based security repository that holds treasury bill in the UK as well as other international security. decrease allowed shareholder and bondholder to keep the assets in non-material electronic form rather than holding a physically share certificate. Cagamas berhad debt security. Firstly, how is the instrument traded? Firstly, customer grant Islamic financing to Apple seller and then Apple seller pay monthly installment to the customer. Apple seller sell Islamic debt Cagamas to the Cagamas and Cagamas receives cash from Apple seller. Cagamas issue Cagamas berhad to the principal dealer in investor and also Cagamas receives cash from principal dealer in investor. Cagamas appoint Apple seller as services and then Apple seller remit Cagamas installment. Lastly, principal dealer in investor pay coupon to the Cagamas. Is there any secondary market? Have secondary market. Secondary market active in debt security is done through banking institution registered or licensed by the SQ. Next, to promote standard and professionalism of standard in the financial market. Lastly, the objective of providing association for those activities involved in wholesale financial market in Malaysia. Where and how can you access to the instrument in Cagamas berhad debt security? A debt security can be accessed in Bursa Malaysia. How to access in debt security? Represent a debt owned by the issuer to an investor. The investor acts as a lender to the issuer, which may be a government, organization or company. However, unlike other types of debt such as bank loan, debt security are generally tradable. That is, can be bought or sold between parties in the market prior to maturity.
Hi, I'm Atira binti Taja Ali. My matric number 259008 and I will present about how does the instrument used in a bank treasury operation. Is there any official guidelines regulating this instrument? Who are the regulating agencies? The first one is warrant. In the view of banking institutions, they generally can take profit despite the slump because they are not taking directional bank make money on trading options warrant by the market maker. They normally buy and sell repeatedly for a small profit on average, but over time tend to increase their profitability. Warrant is usually issued on the spirit of healthy implied volatility against the underlying expectations that are matured. In other words, they are sold to theoretically fair value. Structured warrants are issued by the Security Commission under Section 377 of the Capital Markets and Services Act 2007 for the purpose of regulating the suitability of a structured warrant issuer with the purpose of maintaining market confidence and enhancing investor protection. This guideline incorporates and develops requirements related to structured warrant issuer as contained in the currently unstructured warrant guideline intended to set eligibility requirements for structured warrant issuers. Provide guidance on the Security Commission's overall expectation for issuer, risk management practice, sale practice and marketing and internal control system and procedure for managing conflicts of interest. It is Bursa Malaysia's duty to ensure a fair and orderly market in the trading of securities and derivatives. The Securities Commission as a regulatory body oversees and monitors Bursa Malaysia in connection with listing, trading, clearing, settlement and retention operations to ensure Bursa Malaysia effectively performs its regulatory duties and obligations. There is also discussion between the Securities Commission and Bursa Malaysia from time to time on operational and strategic supervision matters. Approval of the Securities Commission is required for regulatory changes and for new input provided by Bursa Malaysia. Next is Treasury Bill. Treasury Bill not only offer the highest security but can be immediately discounted in the market for cash. The Treasury Department will sell the bill at auction using a competitive and non-competitive bidding process. T-bills tend to have high net worth in the UK with its more centralised form of government. Nearly 80% of the public sector's debt is issued by the central government, compared with less than 70% in the US. Central bank bonds should be restructured for primarily mid-term issuance, while Treasury securities should focus on short-term issuance with less than 1 year and long-term issuance over 3 years. The bond market should be divided into short-term Treasury bill, mid-term MSBS, and long-term Treasury bond, respectively, to prevent the duplication of two securities. The issuance of Treasury bill also serves as a benchmark for the short-term market. The Treasury bill can be issued by inviting the tender and issuing the Treasury bill to the person whose tender is accepted or issued at a fixed discount rate that the Treasury will determine to the Commissioner of National Debt or who may wish to purchase it. Next, the last one is Cagamas debt securities. Through the issuance of conventional and Islamic securities, Cagamas finance the purchase of housing loans and home financing through the purchase with recourse (PWR) and purchase without recourse (PWOR) schemes. Based on this business model, Cagamas can provide liquidity to financial institutions at a competitive cost, prompting them to provide new home loans and financing for new applicants at an affordable price. Having established the ABS guideline by the Securities Commission in 2001, Cagamas has shown its commitment to market development by promoting the conversion of eligible loans and receivables into securities that can be traded through the securitization process when issuing the first conventional residential mortgage-based security in Malaysia. Cagamas are governed by the following regulations under their respective authorities, such as Bank Negara Malaysia under the Financial Act 2013 and the Islamic Financial Act 2013. Next is the Securities Commission of Malaysia, the status of a person registered under the Capital Market and Services Act 2007. Bursa Malaysia is also one of the regulatory agencies involved. Cagamas bond can be traded on the electronic trading platform ETP and Bursa Malaysia. That's all from our group. Thank you.